In this video, I'd like to share a loophole I discovered while working in the travel industry. A loophole that lets you book flights which normally cost over $1,000 for just $10 to $20. This works on 63 of the world's largest airlines, including United, Delta, American, and Southwest Airlines, and this works on both domestic flights and international flights. This works even if you don't have a passport yet, even if you don't have any money saved up, and even if you've wanted to take a vacation for a long time and just didn't know how to make it happen. It's already been used by tens of thousands of men and women to book flights for between 95 to 97% below what they normally pay. And while journalists from the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal have scratched the surface on these strategies, as far as I know, this is the first step-by-step video on how to do this. So imagine if you could fly anywhere in the world for just $10 to $20. Where would you dream of going? Would you climb the Eiffel Tower and take in the romantic view as the sun sets over Paris? Would you get a relaxing massage on the luxurious beaches in Bali? Or would you go on an adventure safari in Africa, where you'll be greeted by curious monkeys, giraffes, and perhaps even wild elephants? The trip you've always dreamed of taking, whether it's on your own, with a loved one, or with the whole family, can finally be real while paying just a small fraction of what you'd normally pay. For example, here's a flight that Sandra recently booked.
Hey, I'm Sandra, and I'm in Koh Phangan, Thailand. I flew Miami, LA, Thailand. In cash, my flights would have probably been around $1,200 to $1,400, and I spent $12.
Here's another example, this one from a flight that I booked. This is a flight from Austin, Texas to Bangkok, Thailand. This trip is divided into two flights. The first one is from Austin to Los Angeles, and the second one goes from Los Angeles to Bangkok. The first flight would normally be $165, and the second flight would normally be $376. So I'd normally pay about $550 for this flight. Now I'm going to log into my credit card statement and show you how I got this flight for free. As you can see here, this is the bill for the two flights that I booked. This is the one from Austin to LA, and this is the one from LA to Bangkok. And here, just a couple days later, is a travel credit for the entire amount, making this 9,000-mile flight completely free. Now, just to be clear, you will sometimes get 100% free flights with this loophole, though usually you'll be paying $10 to $20 in taxes. This works for domestic tickets that are as cheap as $50, as well as international tickets that are as expensive as $3,000. So how does it work? It works using a technique called award stacking. Award stacking is a unique strategy for booking flights which normally cost thousands for just the spare change you'd find in your wallet. It takes less than an hour a month to implement, doesn't add any additional expenses to your life, and can be used to get at least one nearly free flight every 60 days. It even has the side benefit of improving your credit score. For example, here's a photo of my credit score. I started with a credit score of 604 before award stacking, and now I average right around 750. I'll talk more about how this can improve your credit score while getting you free flights, as well as give you the step-by-step instructions for how to do award stacking in just a minute. Before I do, I'd like to share the story of how I discovered this strategy. See, I used to struggle for months just to save up money to travel. I worked long hours at a job I wasn't crazy about. I'd hit the snooze button at least 4 times every morning before dragging myself out of bed, putting on my boring suit, and going to work anyway. Every day, I felt like I died a little bit more inside. And I did this so that eventually I could do what I really wanted to do, which was to go and see the world. Once I finally saved up enough money, I'd take my trip, which would last a couple weeks at most, then I'd return home and start the save money for months process all over again. This continued for years until one day, while on vacation, I happened to meet someone who writes for a travel website. Now, as someone who loves to travel, I was naturally curious about his job, so we spent some time talking. I was blown away by the stories of his adventures and all the places he's been. After a while, I asked him the question that was really on my mind. How can you afford all those flights? I mean, I thought to myself, writers don't make that much money. That's when he told me about award stacking an underground strategy that lets him travel all over the world for next to nothing. And he'd been doing it for 6 years. I spent the rest of our conversation trying to get as much information as I could out of him while hastily taking notes on my iPhone. I went home determined to continue learning everything I could about award stacking. Unfortunately, it turned out there's very little information online. Sure, there were people talking about it, but everyone was very hesitant to share what they knew. There were password-protected websites, invitation-only chat rooms, rumors that were very hard to separate from facts. I kept digging for over a year and slowly, piece by piece, managed to put the whole award stacking puzzle together. And once I did, my life changed forever. Fast forward to today. I've now traveled 28 countries, and the last few years have been the best years of my life. I've dived with thresher sharks in the Philippines, skied the powder slopes of Poland, and seen the famous sunset in Greece. I learned to speak Spanish in Colombia, danced to my favorite DJs in Ibiza, and learned to make Tibetan dumplings from Tibetan refugees. I finally quit my day job to write about my travels, and, thanks to award stacking, I rarely ever spend more than the price of a Subway sandwich on my flights. The whole world feels like a choose-your-own-adventure book to me now. I can go anywhere I want, anytime I want, without even having to think about the money. That is what I want for you.